getting the skills and the knowledge required. And so this course really is to give you an overview of entrepreneurship. And I believe that as we begin, you'll get to understand more in terms of what is expected of us as we go along this course. You'll find that we have 11 sessions in this course that we'll be looking at. Beginning with today, we are looking at the introduction. We want to introduce the course right from the beginning, sorry, for this. Introduce you in terms of what is entrepreneurship. We want to orient you, and probably some of you might not have known the word entrepreneurship in Swahili. It's called ujasiriamali. It's an interesting term. Then we'll go through development of entrepreneurship, go through the nature, go through other forms of business in terms of aligned to entrepreneurship. Topic 5 will lead you through the legal aspects of entrepreneurship and even starting small business. I want to say from the beginning that small business and entrepreneurship are synonymously used, because entrepreneurs start enterprises at the micro level and they grow to next level, small, big, and they continue growing to large businesses. Some of these large businesses we see today started as micro, and they were started by entrepreneurs. So we'll be looking at that. We'll also move on to look at other aspects of entrepreneurship in terms of the business information systems. You realize today, even now, as we are in this course, we are really using technology. And so entrepreneurs use technology. There will be a whole topic on that, on how to SMEs, small enterprises, micro enterprises use technology in their business. Also be looking at this, start sharing. We also be looking at business planning, really, because a business starts by, we may say, you have to plan your business. You start with ideas and you begin moving on. And so we'll prepare business plans before the end of the semester. I believe that those semesters, before the end of the semester, we'll have got the knowledge on how enterprises start, fostered by entrepreneurs running on to running their business and growing their business. There will also be a topic on how businesses grow. That we also cover. We talk about business growth, the aspect, forms, incubation to the next level. We'll be ending the course with the issues and trends, current situation of how our business is running. How do they cope? How do they run? And some of the trends that we see today. For example, we have graduates who are finishing university, tertiary institutions, and yet as they finish their courses and graduate, they are not so sure of what they want to do in life. I want to tell you that this course should be able to give you, I don't know who is that with the child behind there. Probably one of us. You can, I know the challenges. So I was saying, as graduates, you may not so be sure of what you want to do after you graduate. Possibly, you will be able to look for a job. That's the first thing. And because jobs are not there, you may want to do something else. So this course should be able to open your understanding in terms of how can I use the time and resources I have. You yourself is a resource. By the time you finish your course, and even now you are a resource if you didn't know that. You can do many things. So this course should be able to just start. You can grow and you can move to use the resource, which is yourself and other resources. Maybe at this time, I may want to pause there. And one of you, maybe Makelele, Emmanuel, are you with us?
Yes,
Emmanuel?
I'm here.
Yes. Can you say something? What do you think about what I've just said in terms of the journey ahead?
Okay, I've been an entrepreneur some time back.
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
I'm getting you very well.
Okay, now I found it a very interesting topic to you need to learn entrepreneurship actually, because it is going to open us our mind. It's going to open my mind on how actually I'm going to do even after graduation, because I'll not fully depend on employment, so I'll have to maybe find a way of earning money apart from the employment, and that's where now entrepreneurship comes in. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. How long have you been running your business? I can see. Congratulations, first of all. How long have you run that small business?
Yes, for around 3 months. I mean, in the 14 somewhere there. But right now, my brother, I'm working in my brother's business. He's now actually an entrepreneur, which has now taken actually 1 year. And it's now going well.
Very good. Now, this course should be able to give you opportunity to explore more from a formal approach, looking at who are entrepreneurs, what are the characteristics, can we develop them, can we grow them, and that way we should be able to move to another level where you'll be better informed and equipped. Maybe I would want to ask Kiprotich. I see Kiprotich Ian has come on board. Kiprotich, how are you? Hello, Kiprotich. Still far. Let's get to Cindy. Cindy, how are you?
I'm fine.
Yes. Can you give us a few? What do you think? Just look at the journey ahead of us in terms of this course.
Yes. Hello. Good morning. Thank you so much for welcoming me. I'm seeing this as a good entrepreneurship. I'm seeing it as a good class. It's actually a good way, at least us. Apart from the IT, personally, I'm doing IT. Apart from the IT perspective, I'll be now learning how to put IT into business as per my course.
Is that's Kiprotich, eh?
Yes, Kiprotich and more.
Right. Let's get to Cindy then. Cindy was to say something. Cindy. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
From my perspective, entrepreneurship brings about ideas for someone someone who really has dreams and wants to reach a place where he or she can have financial freedom. So entrepreneurship is for you to bring about these ideas that can help you move forward in life so that you won't entirely depend on employment.
Okay. Thank you, Cindy. I see Emmanuel here. Emmanuel. Back to, let's see here. I'm looking for Lemayan. Lemayan, are you hearing us? Lemayan is not. Lemayan, are you with us? Turn on the mic. Right. Let's get to Wanjiku Solomon. I see Wanjiku here. Wanjiku Solomon, how are you? Hello. Wanjiku Solomon. Hello. Wanjiku Solomon, can we get you? Maybe he has a problem, eh? Marianne?
Yes.
All right. Can you say something? Have you heard about the course? Have you looked at this course outline?
I'm looking at it right now.
Yes, we've just gone through it. I'm sure you are listening when we're going through it, eh?
Yes.
Yes, it's a course that is supposed to give you knowledge, skills on who entrepreneurs are and how you can be able to grow as an entrepreneur should you choose that path, and also be able to see what contribution they make in the community.
Yes.
Now, welcome you on board. I want to begin now by running through the presentation PowerPoint so that we go through each of the topics.
Yes.
The course today is introducing you and making you feel comfortable because we feel this is a new technology and it's going to help all of us to be able to communicate and so on, and be able to gain the knowledge and skills in this course and other courses that the university is offering. So I believe your colleagues who are still yet to register will come on board as soon as possible. Now, let me get to the presentation of the second. Your presentation for today. The topic 1. We look at topic 1, lesson 1. We're coming there shortly. Uploading that. Sorry for the delay a little bit here. And I believe you give me that. That's taking a little time. And I'm sure you've seen the for the day or for the course. Hello.
Hello.
Have you seen that picture for the day?
Yes.
Yes. What do you think about that picture?
It explains entrepreneurship.
Yes.
The plan.
Yes.
Wow.
The journey, okay?
Yes.
Interesting. Yes, I see. Yes, Marianne. Now, for the rest of us, let's now get to the presentation. Let's get to the presentation. And I want you to listen carefully. Presentation as we go along. Session of topic 1. Now, I want this topic is going to cover us. We're going to take a whole 45 minutes or so, or 40 minutes. And I want to run through it quickly and be able to, other resources are available, of course, for all of us to look at. I'm sure you're already looking and enjoying some of them. We also have a manual for you, and even this presentation will be available for you. If we look at what we have there, let's look. You could look at entrepreneurship. It's a very interesting drawing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see. You can see from what the question is. You start with what. In every mind of any entrepreneur, the question is the what. What do I want to do? What can I achieve? And of course, you begin now thinking of many things. Whether you are an employee or you are a self-employed person, it starts the question what. And this picture we studied very well. You can see you have to think fast. You plan. You do again. You do. You keep doing. And you can see the dollars up there. It takes, you have to take risks. I involve also in entrepreneurship. And you ask the question, why or why not? Why don't I make? Why don't I succeed or make money, more money? Why don't my business start and run? So you can see here in this picture here, the question why comes in. You study it carefully. Because of money, you want to, of course, many people go in because they want to earn a living and generate money for themselves. And why is that important? Another question you ask yourself. You don't just earning money for yourself, but you are also going to use these resources to assist the community and your country at large. And you see there are needs, various needs that we come across. Needs for the people, they need goods, they need services. And therefore, entrepreneurs really are creative in finding a solution to the problems exist, either goods provision or either services that need to be provided. I'll come on the picture right now, sharing with you guys. The next thing I want to, right away there. The next slide brings us to objectives of this topic. Define entrepreneurship, identify who entrepreneurs are, classify entrepreneurs, understand the benefits of entrepreneurship. The whole of this runs through really the question of thinking from a new perspective. You have heard of entrepreneurs probably out there. You've read about them. But here we are looking at it a little more formally. Who are they? They play an important role in creation and growth of business. Why? By providing services and goods. And as we see here, you'll see that around the world, there are millions of people who really have ideas, dreams, and so on. Many others, I'm sure you have heard, some of you have heard about Starry Foods. It's by the name, the fellow behind this is Eric Mudomi, and many others. Equity Bank, for example. Mwangi started when he was an employee and he thought about a big financial institution, big institution now, and many others. Branson, you heard about Branson and many others. People who really went out there and started something new and different. So it's designing, first of all, thinking, designing, launching, and running a new business. Entrepreneurs act when they believe in an opportunity. So it must be there. It begins with an idea. Then, of course, these entrepreneurs, they are people, ordinary people, but with ordinary ideas, ordinary way of thinking and looking at things. They see opportunities where others don't. They also evaluate these opportunities and they move forward. Entrepreneurs search for change. They respond to it and exploit. Right now, the challenge we have in Kenya and the world over is the COVID-19. And from what you see in this COVID-19, people have seen opportunities. They have started businesses. They have done many things. You see, even the manufacturing of the PPEs, protective clothing, including masks. These are entrepreneurs. Peter Drucker defined entrepreneurs as searching for change, responding to it, and exploiting it. Entrepreneur is the one who is endowed more than average capacity to see, organize, and get started and move. And as we see also, I'm sure we can look around and there are many people who are doing things differently from others and are succeeding. They have an entrepreneurial mind. Entrepreneurial thinking comes in when you have an entrepreneurial mind. Processing, thinking of what is possible. They look at possibilities, not impossibilities. They take action in terms of producing products, services, and so on. I mentioned just a few minutes ago about the masks. Now people, tailors are very busy. They saw an opportunity here. Others have seen another opportunity in terms of distribution of many products related to this problem that we are facing currently. I've just given that as an example, but there are many other examples we see around. Hence, an entrepreneur is a person who sets a business or businesses, takes financial risks, and hopes to get profits in their gist in terms of running. We get to the next slide. I want you to reflect a little bit, on the entrepreneurs. I want to go, Lemayan. Are you with us here, Lemayan? Lemayan? Mutinia Marian.
Yes.
Hello. Yes.
Hello.
All right. Do you have an example of an entrepreneur in your community that you can say is really different from others in the estate or community?
Sorry.
Hello. Yeah.
Hello.
Do you have an example of an entrepreneur you can give us? You can tell us from your community?
Yeah.
Or in this country, for that matter? I'm sure you have you have think about it, right? We'll give you time to think about it. Maybe you can tell us later on, Sindio.
Yeah.
Yes, Wanjiku Solomon, is he on? Wanjiku Solomon. Wanjiku Solomon? Kibro teach? Kibro teach? Yes.
Yes, sir.
An example in this country, a person you think is an entrepreneur from that definition.
Now, from a personal perspective, around where I'm living, Kericho.
Yes. Yes, Kericho, tell us about Kericho. Who is?
I don't know if he's really known, but there's a person called Kipsoi. This guy started all the way back when he was young. He saw a gap.
What does he do? Tell us what he's. Yes.
He has supermarkets. He has supermarkets all over Kericho. He sells milk. He has lorries, transportation. I think he deals with the big four, the big five: transport, real estate, all of it. He's really a big entrepreneur in Kericho.
Thank you. What is different about him from others?
He's a really big risk taker. You can see he only started with a small Mabati house. If you look at his story, he started with a Mabati house. Now he has, a lot of things. He has, you can just see him driving big cars. He has, what can I say? He has supermarkets, petrol stations. Yeah, he took the risk. He took the risk at a young age.
Very good. Now, thank you very much, Kiproti. Let's get back and see some of the characteristics, key characteristics of entrepreneurs. First, it is self-confidence. I'm sure all of this man was self-confident. and many others who have taken that path. Risk-taking is another one, ability, decision-making, competitive, being very competitive in their thinking, they're intelligent, they visualize, they're patient. In terms of growing from a Mabati structure, example given by Kiprotich, this person has grown. Emotional tolerance, yes, they cannot be easily swept by challenges that they face. They have leadership quality. I'm sure he has employees. Running such a conglomerate, I may say, must have many employees and definitely displays quality in leadership. Technical skills in some areas, financial comes in, managerial skills, organizational skills, creative, and innovative, I may add there, and they are reality oriented. These are some of those characteristics we can say displayed by entrepreneurs. You see from our notes, the ones you can see from the page we've sent out, the notes, you see that there are many other characteristics that entrepreneurs express. Maybe move a little further to look at some of the processes that entrepreneurs go through in summary. The processes we see include that really, it begins with an idea. They are born at the preliminary stage, idea stage, where an entrepreneur, a person, looks at what change they can make and what opportunities there. And they convert this. I hear some background noise. Please, one of us, whatever is happening, please. Okay. We're talking about preliminary stages. They begin at some level. Then they make decisions after identifying an opportunity that they can make a difference. Of course, you can only identify an opportunity once you have gone and done some research, find out what's happening in the community, what is lacking, and then you make a decision now to put together resources, as we'll see. You pull together resources, financial, human resource, and whatever. And then, of course, before you do that, because the planning has taken a stage. We hear about business planning and we learn more about this, that entrepreneurs, either they have a formal written plan or they have them in their minds. Many times we found some saying, look, I have not got written this down, but I know where I want to go. So they plan, and we encourage them to do a formal planning so that they see the steps from where they are beginning to how they can reach the goals they want to achieve. Then they implement, of course, their business, putting resources together, starting the business and running. You may have seen some new business coming up. And normally they have a very interesting opening where somebody says, we have now reached town, we have opened our shop and come in and buy. You've seen that. They do a lot of advertisements. So that's the implementing stage. And then, of course, where the rubber meets the road, as they say, is managing the organization, managing your small business. If you imagine somebody starting a kiosk, they have to be there, they have to run it, they have to manage it. When it grows, they hire someone to help them, and then they move on and so on. So management is key, also concepts, principles to make an entrepreneur run and succeed in what they're doing. Of course, once they run their business, there are many things that you will see. You will see this in the notes. Entrepreneurs can be classified also. When you look at the bigger picture, they can be classified based on their functional areas. Like there are those who are innovative, they're innovative entrepreneurs. There are those ones who are adaptive, they adapt to what's happening. They copy. You've seen people copying others. If somebody sets up, for example, a shop, small grocery, another one comes and sets up the next door and so on. You've seen that competition there. It may not be much successful in the end, but those who are strong will survive, as they say. There are those who are the Fabian entrepreneurs, the drone entrepreneurs, as we'll be seeing what this means. But they are based on functional characteristics. We can also classify them under the developmental angle, like private movers, the managers. Managers really are, you may get a person employed as a manager, but they express the entrepreneurial characteristics in terms of bring change to the organization. There are also those based on the entrepreneur business. There are those in manufacturing. There are those in wholesaling. There are those in retailing. There are those who provide services. These are another level of classification. And then we also can classify them under the personality types. broad classification, those who only provide advice, those who are actually artists, for example, they draw things and so on. You have all these classifications, but these are broad classifications, as we will see. The other classification which I want to mention here is the business, the based on philosophy and occupation. You've heard about people who are who provide goods and services for others. They are not involved in making profits as such, but they provide services. If you ever heard about the first nursing school ever, just taking you to history a little bit, there was someone by the name Florence Nightingale. This was a pioneer nurse who started nursing school. They were not really, she was not earning anything, but she started this to provide services. The Mother Teresa of India, who started up with the poor, the poorest of the poorest society. She went there and got resources from sponsors and brought this together and continued. Closer home, there is Dr. Charles Mooley of Mooley Children's Family, MCF. If you Google MCF, you'll find that there's a man called Charles Mooley who actually is involved in social, what they call social entrepreneurship, bringing social change. Instead of profits, they measure their performance in terms of the impact they make society. And then, of course, the larger one, which all of us think about, is the business entrepreneurship, whereby the people going out there to make money. Most of the entrepreneurs we see here, and they're loud and clear, are actually the business or capital entrepreneurship, involving operating an enterprise, a venture, with the aim of maximizing their profits. And so we'll be looking at this. That's another classification. So there are various other classifications which I encourage you to look at as you study your notes in terms of what classifications we have. We, having looked at that, I would want to just mention about the role of entrepreneurship in economic development. You know, the key thing here is entrepreneurs are not there just for the sake of being an entrepreneur. They are there for economic development in terms of bringing change. When you bring change in the community, when you bring transport, for example, near by starting a transport system between the village and the town, you find that people can go to town, buy products and bring them to the village. Shopkeepers will use your transport, people are going for business, and here you are bringing change. And here we talk about wealth creation. So a broad role of entrepreneurship in wealth creation creates wealth. Entrepreneurial countries have really done this, and examples of these countries are in the West, for example. The US, entrepreneurial country number one is the US. People there are each to themselves. Of course, they have a government, but they go all out. When you look at the history of that country from 1750, you find that people went there really with the idea of creating wealth for themselves. They left Europe and went out there and started this. We also see this today in countries in our own closer home here, that people who are very active in entrepreneurial activities, they're creating wealth. They're better off than people who are not entrepreneurs. So wealth creation, not only for the individual, but for the country as such. They also pay taxes, as we see, and they also employ people. And you can see a change that comes in the community because of entrepreneurs. We'll look at details here at some stage. Job creation, another one, providing jobs. The example which was given by Kiprotich, you know, of this man who is running a whole level of businesses in Kericho, you know, it's created jobs. Sure, if we ask ourselves how many people that man has employed, or any other venture near you, business, either manufacturing, either wholesaling, either supermarket, for example, you know, this created jobs for those people. You heard about taxis the other time, employing people, young people, graduates, giving them employment, banks, and other institutions. So creation of jobs comes in, however small the business is. When it grows, you find that you employ people and so on and so forth. Some of you, as you are seated here, you are employees. You are working for someone. And some of you here, if you are running your own business, or very soon you are starting, you'll be employing other people. The balanced regional development, yes, as we see today, that the problem we have had in the past was the rural-urban migration. Many of the people coming from the rural areas going to look for jobs in the towns and cities and so on. But today, you see entrepreneurs across the country, they are developing. Those in Kericho, those in Mombasa, those in Kisumu, those in, let's say, Kitale, you know, they're creating jobs right at the regional level. And then the wealth they create brings in what we call balanced regional development. Today in this country, we are talking about county governments, the developed government. And in those counties, as you see today, there are many activities going on that actually are developing those areas, so that there will be little need for people to travel from one place to another. Maybe I'll pause here for a minute and ask the question, what else do you think entrepreneurs do as in terms of their role in the community? May I ask Emmanuel N? There is Emmanuel N here. Emmanuel, can you tell us something? Emmanuel Ngetich? Emmanuel Ngetich, are you with us? Okay, let's get Kinywa Kakwira. Kinywa. Kinywa is not coming on. Okay. Emmanuel, let's see Emmanuel Makelele. Emmanuel Makelele, are you together? Hello? Emmanuel Makelele.
Yes.
What do you think? What other roles do entrepreneurs play in the community? What other role?
Apart from okay, actually they boost the economy of the community. That's
Yes.
number one.
Yeah.
Yes, they boost the economy.
Yes.
And again, they provide, at some point you may find some entrepreneurs providing education to the other growing people so that they may also become.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. Let's move on. Let's ask Marianne. Marianne. Hello. Marianne. Marianne. I think she's not coming on. Solomon is there. I see Solomon Wanjiku. Solomon, maybe they're having challenges. Right. What other roles? I posted some question there. What other roles do entrepreneurs play in the community besides job creation, real wealth creation? What else do you think you can? I'd want to hear from you. Cindy is typing. Yes, Cindy, tell us. While Cindy is typing, I can see her sending us posting. Improve standards of living. Yes. One of them is improve standards. That's good. How? Can you go further? How do they improve that? How? I want to ask that question because so that we're able to say, well, it does, but what happens? Yes, Makelele. As we well, look at role of entrepreneurship in economic development. Very good. Thank you. I see. You've heard about the gross domestic product. And when you look at the gross domestic product, it looks at a country having been able to generate. You find that some countries are well developed than others. When you talk of the countries that are the G7, for example, the highly developed countries, is because of the GDP. And when GDP comes in, it means gross domestic product, where all goods and services produced in a country put together in dollar or shilling form. You can see that other countries have higher than others. So in this case, it comes in. Small enterprises, for example, who are entrepreneurs for that matter, are seen to actually produce a major chunk. 50% in Kenya, for example, in 2017, 50% of our growth, 6 point something, was created by entrepreneurs, contributed by entrepreneurs in terms of their small and medium enterprises. Also, provision of essential services, yes, I can see that. Increase in standard of living, exports also. You find that a country can be involved in exports, and this comes in from entrepreneurs. You've heard about AGOA, that is American Growth Opportunity Act, which gave Kenyans and other countries opportunity for entrepreneurs to export their products to America, some of duty-free, and about opening doors for trade. This is exports, and entrepreneurs play a key role here. Community development comes in. Yes, becoming an entrepreneur really is making a difference in the community. Big difference. If you look at a remote area, for example, in the village, out there in the village. People are not really, they just continue their lives, agrarian lives, as they say. But entrepreneurs starting up a small factory there, of adding value to the products can do a lot of change in terms of employment creation, goods and services. Other services will come in also. You see a construction site, for example, in a village, building a school or big building. You find that other people can also start business around there. M-Pesas will come in. You find that people producing food will be there, selling food, kiosks will be there, and many other services will come in. Take an example of this factory which was opened last year, Mabati, which is manufacturing cement in Nakuru. This factory was started by Mabati Rolling Mills, and it's producing cement. And around there, around Selga area, it's a big community coming up in terms of the surrounding community, starting other small businesses, housing is there, and many others. So all these come in because of entrepreneurs, one entrepreneur starting business there. Many other activities are there. Well done, as members who are contributing. This is good because we are really learning from one another. Now, what about benefits of entrepreneurship to the individual? Let me pause for a minute here. We talked about the bigger picture in the community, in the country, and the community. What about you as an entrepreneur? If you are starting a business as an entrepreneur or starting a journey of entrepreneurship, what will you gain? One is ownership. Many of us want to own. We don't want to be owned. An employee is owned. An employee is owned by the employer. You are owned by the employer. So to say, because your time is consumed by the employer. You are there working for him or her. Number of hours, number of weeks, and so on. But you want to own. So ownership is key here. All of us, I'm sure, believe I want to own something, and owning a business is a big thing. In some business, big, like in the Western world, if you talk about I run my own business, you are rated highly in the community than saying I'm a CEO of this big company. So ownership is key here. I'm sure it also comes in this country and other countries. Legacy is here. You want to leave a legacy, running on business. You leave a legacy to your own family and your own kids and kin. You have something that you can leave behind that you can be proud of. I'm sure you can think about this country and see people have left legacies of business that are running. The Lemaire for many years. You remember the Lemaire, this country, although now it's gone, but the Lemaire's a legacy, and many others have left legacy in this country. Create your own destiny. Yes, you look at the future. You look at achievement oriented. What do you want to achieve in life? I want to ask you here, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to ask yourself, what do you want to achieve in life? Of course, you want to be an employee, or you are an employer and employee, whichever it is. And at the end, what do you want to achieve? This is a question you want to ask yourself. And achieving something like running your own business, conglomerate. Impact on society. Yes, benefits are not. Leadership experience. You gain experience. You enjoy what you do. I'm sure many of us want to enjoy what we do. And I want to tell you, some enjoy being employees, some enjoy running their own show, meeting like-minded people. You have that opportunity of meeting people, unexpected and thrilling experiences. Yes, many of us who want experiences that are challenging, not routine work. Here you are. Greater confidence also comes in. You build your confidence because you can discuss with people at different levels. You can reach the CEOs of other companies. You can export your products. You can travel and so on. So you build this and develop this as part of your own self-confidence development as part of benefits of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship has its own drawbacks, and I want to very quickly run through these drawbacks. Some of them include, despite the benefits, there's some drawbacks involving the risk nature because you risk, and as you risk, business is risking. Uncertainty in income, you're not so sure how much you'll be coming, but you open with the hope and optimism. Risk of losing investment. Yes, if the business doesn't do well, that's risk. Long hours under the work. By the way, when you start your own business, you run your own business, it will not be like 8 to 5. Many of us are used to 8 to 5 when I'm employee. But beyond there, when you run your own business, unless you are manufacturing, and you get an order, let's say at 4 p.m., saying, we want this to be delivered tomorrow. You will not say it's already a few minutes to 5, let me close shop. You will always run and work even overtime. And you will put in overtime shifts for your workers if you have any. So you see, you long hours. Spend long hours, hard work to achieve because it's your own. It's not an employee's. High stress levels are there, of course. We find that entrepreneurs who are really on the go, will have they tend to have high stress levels, but they manage this as they go along. Discouragement comes in, you launch your business, and some people may not be happy, or at the end of the day, you are not making it, you get discouraged. These are things that will come. Your friends will tell you, why are you wasting time in this, man? Look for a job and get employed. You have skills. But you see, those are things that are, by the way, they will be coming. So some of these are just drawbacks. There's a drawback, there's a good side, and the drawbacks in entrepreneurship. But we are encouraged that entrepreneurs have done it. Those who will focus on the future will make it and continue growing. And the entrepreneurs of today will do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to stop there for this video presentation, and I want us to engage probably in the chat and see, unless there are questions, maybe I should post and say Q, question and answers. Maybe I'll just open and say, look, any comments from any one of you? Normally Q&A means comments, questions, and so on. I see, yes.
Excuse me,
Is that Emmanuel? Kiprotich, yes.
I wanted to ask a question on qualities of the entrepreneur.
Go ahead again. Qualities?
From qualities of an entrepreneur.
You also type that message so we can share it. Yes, qualities of an entrepreneur. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you, is succession a quality?
Succession? Sorry?
Is succession a quality? Like once you want to pass it on to your children, the
yes.
business. Is it a quality?
Yes. Now, I want to look at it from a different perspective to answer that question. First of all, succession. You plan for succession. Look, for example, the older generation. They would normally, some of them plan very well in advance. That when I'm advancing in age and I'm not able to continue running this business, I'll have one of my either kin and kids to succeed me. So it's an element of management. It's an element of management. But when we talk about quality of entrepreneurship, it's a broad question. And let's talk about quality of entrepreneurs. But let's pause it first before we answer it. Let's get Emmanuel. Emmanuel, can you want to answer? What's your view on that question, Emmanuel Makelele? Hello, Emmanuel. Emmanuel. Or if not Emmanuel, can we get, yes, Emmanuel, yes, we're giving an opportunity. Meanwhile, Kiproti, can you type that question? Can you send it as a message? Send us a message. As a message for us to discuss. It's a good one. Is it a quality? Send us a message, Emmanuel. Yes, let's do that. Meanwhile, Emmanuel Makelele. Yes. Let's get someone. Cindy, what do you think? Cindy? Cindy's there.
Hello.
Yes, do you get that question from Kiprotich?
Yes. From my perspective, I don't think succession is a quality of an entrepreneur. Because
is it?
Entrepreneurship is creation, yes. Your own creation, and creation of something that you think that will help you or even the community. But succession, it's like someone's business idea and you're working on it. I don't think it's more like like expounding more on
yes.
on the already made idea.
Yeah.
So for me, succession is not part of a quality of an entrepreneur.
Okay.
But if you, Cindy, if I beg to ask you, if you once you take up the business, you'll still be taking the entrepreneurial qualities, risk taking, making sure that everything is up to par, making sure that you're not doing the 8 to 5. You'll still be an entrepreneur, so you'll still fall under the category of an entrepreneur.
Okay, it depends. Okay. From what you say, it depends. But from the definition of an entrepreneur, it's creation of an idea, not taking after someone's idea and putting it to use and using other ideas. Are you getting me?
Yes, I get you.
Yeah.
Right. We can lay that to rest by saying, go back to the definition. Who is an entrepreneur? Thank you very much, Cindy. Who is an entrepreneur? He has innovation, creativity, risk-taking, achievement orientation. Those are key pillars that we see. And when we talk of succession, succession is getting to run somebody's business. But unless you have those qualities, you run it down. But if you have qualities in you, or you learn those qualities, because those qualities are also learned, then you succeed. Otherwise, not as such, is not a characteristic. So we look at the characteristics of entrepreneurs. What are they that make a person do well if they succeed? They are succeeding a business or starting their own business. But the person who is handing over the business, like the older generation, one of the things you may look at it from that perspective, that can they envision that when I'm gone, who can run the business successfully? It's one of those managerial, then you may say, skills, because managerial skills is how do you pass on the torch? How do you do what we call succession planning? Yeah, I'll put it that way. Thank you. Any others? Any other comments about this session 1? Any other comments on session 1? You can see, I hope you'll do your, we do the, what we call here is, we'll do your register. We'll be signing you in for all of you as you proceed to make comments. And also, yeah. Any other comments from anybody about the definition or some of the slides we've seen here? Yeah, Chimngeno Vivian, can we hear you? See Chimngeno Vivian, can you hear you? Can we hear you? Yeah? Right? Listening only, Mayan, listening only, I can see that, yeah? Any others? Right. I will ask this question. Do you have yourself, can you think about yourself as an individual? Do you think you possess the qualities of an entrepreneur? Do you as an individual, yeah? You as an individual. I want you to type this: individual possess the characteristics as we listed them, some of the characteristics of an entrepreneur. You just think about it, characteristics of an entrepreneur. You as an individual possess the characteristics of an entrepreneur. Let me hear some of you say something here. Do you? And what are they? Sorry. In there. There you go. Got lost a little bit. Yeah, sorry. And then the other question I want to ask, as you think about, can you name, let's say, 5 successful entrepreneurs in this country? 5 successful entrepreneurs in this country. As others are typing, maybe I can ask some of you, 5 successful entrepreneurs in this country. You can name. Based on the proactiveness, they're proactive, they have started their own enterprises, they have grown the businesses, and they're huge enterprises. Based on your own survey, are there entrepreneurs in this country? Name 5 entrepreneurs. Name 5 successful entrepreneurs in Kenya. Stating why you think so. Right. Maybe some of you can have a go as others are typing. Maybe you can have a go. Right? Kipro teach, Ian, Kipro teach. We come to you. Oh, you had named earlier. You had named one. Probably let's give this opportunity to someone else. Let's give it to, let's say, who is active here? Let's see, Marianne. Hello. Chris Kirubi. Yes, I can see. Chris Kirubi is one of them. Yes. Any others? SK Macharia. It's a good example. Yes. Started this, when you look at the Tabitha Karanja, yes, being very, very gender sensitive. What are they? As you type those names, why do you think they are? What are their reasons? 5 successful entrepreneurs. Can you go ahead, James Mwangi? Yes. Tell us, why do you think so? Because name 5 and stating why you think so. If you take, for example, SK Macharia. One of you, SK Macharia. What do you think about SK Macharia? Why is he a successful entrepreneur? Yeah. Right. Yeah, I see Cindy, very good. Please Kirubi is there. If you can read together. Let's have one person talking. Eh? Hello? Can we see Cindy has given us some responses here? Can see Kiprotich has also done. That despite being nominated other beer and alcoholic drinks, yes. Beyond that, he has also expanded the business, of course. Very big. I need them. This only. Yes, Emmanuel. What do you think about these comments from your colleagues? You comment on them. Hello, Emmanuel. You teach? Hello. How do I answer this now? Because they are all typing on it. Scroll up and right, let's look at some of these responses, ladies and gentlemen. We look at Cindy Adele's Kirubi. Let's look at Kirubi. He's a self-made businessman who has been in almost every sector of the economy. That includes real estate, where he buys old houses, renovates, and sells them. Just zero in on that. Do we all agree? Yes? He is an entrepreneur per se. He's a local entrepreneur, was done very well. Look at Tabitha Karanja, Keroche. I'm sure she's a Keroche, she's behind Keroche, their family. Although they've had recent problem the other day, they lost their last-born daughter. But you see, seeing her, she's done very well in terms of running her business. We say entrepreneurs come in different types of sectors. This one is in manufacturing alcoholic drinks. She has done very well. She has a niche in the market. She's done very well for the years she's been in business. Chris Kirby has done the same thing in really different areas. If you have heard about the Two Rivers in Nairobi, Two Rivers Mall, I invite you to visit. Kirby is behind that, and many others. She's done very, very well. These are local entrepreneurs. If we come to, for example, Lorna Ruto, founder of Eco Post, venture that collects plastic waste and turns them into eco-friendly. How do we classify that? We classify them under philosophy also. What is she in? Is she in real money for money herself, or is she going beyond that? Of course, it's part of social entrepreneurship, if I may say, at this time, because she collects the waste, plastic waste, turns them into eco-friendly fencing, poles, and others. So she's actually dealing with the problem in society in general. Besides making money out of it, she's also creating employment, and she's dealing with the menace of plastics. The classic, you need to start business to meet the need. Lorna has not only provided the country as an alternative to timber fencing, you can see also environment comes in terms of not cutting the trees. And by the way, I want to encourage you to plant trees wherever you are and you have a space, make sure you plant a tree. So in this case, we can see here, there are also people actually who are in plantations of trees and so on. But this is an example we're looking at the moment, yes. We also have SK Macharia here, which Cindy has mentioned here very well, yes. All of us know about, if you go back to this country's history in terms of the telecommunications and the airwaves. We used to have only KBC. I may take you back to the history of this country at the time of independence, 1960s. We had Kenya Bureau Broadcasting Corporation, but today we have many stations. Of course, there's an act of parliament which opened up the spaces, but beyond that, you look at what SK Macharia has done. He did not only start with the TV station, we know the TV stations, the radio stations, the vernacular radio stations as well. You know, it really went into an area that's new and using technology and so on. He's the founder of CEO of 7 Seas Technologies, SK Macharia. We talk about the SK, this is Mike Macharia, but SK Macharia, so I'm talking about SK Macharia, who is also, if you look about Citizen and other radios, it's SK Macharia. Mike Macharia is a different one. You know, 7 Seas Technologies is very interesting. He found a company, provide great technology. Peter Munga is another one, founder Pioneer Schools and Pioneer University. Some of you might have heard about Pioneer University. Yes, he's also an entrepreneur as such. So you have examples that are very, very interesting about entrepreneurs in this country. What about social entrepreneur? Can we talk about any other social entrepreneur, person who is dealing with the society's problem beyond just making money? An example I may give you is look at Bill Gates, for example, Melinda and Bill Gates, just pouring a lot of money into research, into health and so on. Bill Gates started as an entrepreneur, he ran his own companies. And from there, he moved, may say, transformed into a social entrepreneur, now giving out millions of dollars to the needy cases globally. That you can see also when you talk of entrepreneurs transforming from a capitalist entrepreneur to a social entrepreneur. Some combine the two, they give. Currently, for example, as you see, this challenge and this epidemic of COVID-19, you've seen some very successful entrepreneurs now giving to our society. Maybe you can say it's under corporate social responsibility, but some of them are doing this as a social enterprise, giving products to support the needs of society. Jack Ma is a good example. He's an entrepreneur per se from China. He was here a few years back. He talked to students, University of Nairobi, and in this country, challenging the youth to rise up and wake up. And he donated quite a few things, not only this country, but beyond, in terms of supporting the social need of a country. Examples like those. We have also challenged our own Kenyan successful businessmen and entrepreneurs that they could give to society. One that comes to mind here, you've not mentioned, is a person who has set up Chandaria, for example. You go to some of the hospitals, you see Chandaria ward, Chandaria wing. Chandaria has done quite a bit in this country. Started as a capitalist entrepreneur and business entrepreneur, to now he has a social cause. All this we see happening. Now, do you think, another question I want to ask here as we go along is, are entrepreneurs born or are they made? Are entrepreneurs born? It's a big question you'll be coming across. Are entrepreneurs born or made? I want us to think about that a little bit. Since we have examples of entrepreneurs, are they born or are they made? Just read some of your comments on that. It's something you come across quite a bit. Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure I can see your responses are very good. Somebody's born. If you look at it from the perspective of working their way up, that formal education, Steve Jobs as a young man, yes, did that, very interesting. Good. Now, I'm sharing some our topics here, as we mentioned. Very good. Cindy? As you can see here, ladies and gentlemen, our course was to describe what's entrepreneurship and who are entrepreneurs, and also analyze the elements and concepts of entrepreneurship. What are they? What are the key things there? And then appreciate the role of entrepreneurship in society. We have given you the text, study chapter 1 from the course text, entrepreneurship. We've also sent it to you. It's e-format. You read through it, and you also look at the following notes. Read the study chapter 1 of the text, of course, gives you a bigger picture, just under summary here. Read the following notes also to give a broad overview of entrepreneurship. Pay particular attention to definitions, classification of entrepreneurs, and the role of entrepreneurs. So as I mentioned there, this should be able to give you an idea of where we are going for today's course. The activities there is to look at the additional notes on the overview of the entrepreneurship and who is the entrepreneur. I've also given you PowerPoint presentations that should be able to help you in understanding this area, this discipline much more. The learning activities we have is we have given an assignment here. Participate in the discussion is mandatory. I've seen some of you have done that, and it's very, very interesting that we can be able to work together as we move forward. Unless there's any comment from anyone of you, you can see very interesting comments here about entrepreneurs being born or being, acquired skills, acquired knowledge. Entrepreneurs are both. I would say they are both. They are both born, and they are both born and or made. Why do we say that? We say that because number one is that there are certain characteristics that someone is born with. Even you who are seated here in this class, and I'm sure in class you have been to before, that you see some people who are more innovative and creative in nature. You find that they are innovative, they're creative, they're giving you ideas, very resourceful, while you get some who are not, but they become resourceful at the end of the day when they learn from others. Same thing with being an entrepreneur. From the perspective of nature, or nurture, you are wired with specific characteristics. A child born has specific characteristics. Some of them tend to be more entrepreneurial, others don't. But when they grow up, they acquire. The environment comes in now that shapes you. And then when it shapes you, you can now go into acquiring certain skills and knowledge, and you become perfect in performing them. So they are both. There are those who are from the beginning, you can tell, and there are those who will acquire as they go along. The acquisition part of it comes to learning the formal way. Even if somebody started a business by having not had any formal education, eventually they will have to learn the ropes, the management skills. How do you manage? How do you make people do better and perform? How do you manufacture certain product? How do you keep the records? These things will come in at some stage. So they are both. They are both, as you see. As we'll see in the next topic, which is coming next week, as we look at topic 2, we will look at also the theories behind entrepreneurship. We look at the history and theories. And under the theories of entrepreneurship, We'll now answer this question even in details, and you'll see from different perspectives. Psychological perspective comes in, and the other perspectives like the economics perspective, sociological perspectives that come in when we answer this question. Meanwhile, we have activities we've given you on this in this session. I would want you to encourage you to get to them so that you are able to understand much more and have a broader picture of who entrepreneurs are, for example, and then the big picture of entrepreneur overview. The notes there will be able to help you understand them better. For now, I want to pause there. If there's anybody with a question or comment, I see most of you, yes. Make sure that you do the register. You will take your register for those of you who are in, and tell your friends who have not registered. Tell them, hey, we have started. The ship has taken off, or is taking off from the port, or the plane is about to take off. It's taken off. Actually, engines have been drawing. They're getting ready. As those of you have flown a little bit, you see they tell you now we are calling for boarding. Those of you who are still yet to clear and come to the boarding gates before the plane takes off, we are actually just taking off so that we are able to get into this course more to be able to achieve the objectives that we set to do. I want to pause there for a minute, and if there's any question, any comments from anybody, and to say thank you very much for attending this session. I believe the other sessions are going to be good. Meanwhile, the chat is still open. We can still hear from each other and get to hear more from you as we go along. Give us your comments. Thank you.